Hey,
Brother.
bud.
How you doing, man?
Somber.
Yep.
It's a dark day, and yesterday when Charlie Kirk was killed, that was tough. And of course, being September 11th, more to think about and reflect on. And everybody has seen everything, right? And it looks like they're honing in on some suspects, but the question of who's responsible, I think, will be an ongoing question, no matter who is brought to the forefront as the perpetrator.
Who is responsible are it's the media, it's the Democratic politicians for the rhetoric, and it's anybody that has bought in to that brainwashing. And of course, anyone that's celebrating this is the obvious people that are responsible for it. And they need to be dealt with accordingly. All there is to it. The authorities need to deal with it. No one, don't take it into your own hands and do anything drastic or violent. You know, um, I think that's one thing that the right has going for them is that they have the moral high ground. They've always had the moral high ground, but we've, now more than ever, it's clear. And the only reason you haven't seen the type of retribution that these lunatics deserve is because the right has Christ and they're relying on their religion to get through this. But make no mistake, if authorities do not take this into their own hands and take drastic steps, and they're not arresting Antifa members today, tomorrow, the next day, if they're not shutting down NGOs that are funding these terrorist organizations, if they're not doing everything they possibly can without caring about being called fascist or dictator, if they just sort of take the same old approach with this, the people will rise up. I think we're at this tipping point right now. So um, I just hope that the authorities do what's right.
Yeah, yeah, we could hope for that. I don't put a lot of faith in that, actually. I think more
Mhm.
my thought today has been, how do I live more like Charlie did?
Yeah,
How do I live with more courage? How do I live, with my beliefs out there in front more?
that's right.
I think he set an example, and I don't think he would want revenge. I think he would be okay with justice, but I don't think that this is a time for people to look for getting even, And I think, uh, yeah, the Christian right, I think, has an example to set, and that's one of peace and forgiveness. Although that's not something I'm willing to do today,
No, I
you
mean, I'm
know?
not. Forgiveness comes with a price. Okay, I just listened to Father
Yeah.
Mike Schmidt talk about this idea of, forgiveness is not just this thing that you give it. It comes with a price. Jesus died for our sins. He forgave us for our sins, and look what he went through to do that, right?
Right.
And it's not a matter of being a doormat. And, because Christianity would never have gotten to this point if you just let Islam conquer, the West,
Mhm.
essentially.
Right.
It's something that you have to fight for in the right way, in a very righteous way. And that's a kind of a delicate middle ground to find the ground between justice and mercy, you know? It's also
Absolutely.
something that I struggle with. Like what, like where, Lord, give me the clarity to understand when justice to the full extent of God's law is the right path instead of mercy, or is there a path for both, right? You can still have justice, but when you bring that perpetrator that's violating the laws of God uh,
hmm
into an eye for an eye situation, that at the end of their life you say, I want you to accept Christ. I hope Christ is there for you. Bring him into your life. You're going to still have to face the consequences for your actions in this world, but in the next world, it doesn't have to be that way. But you've got to repent, and you've got to mean it, and giving them the opportunity to maybe do that. I don't know. I struggle. I'm just struggling with going back between rage and just sorrow and trying to spend as much time in prayer as I possibly can. Midst
Yeah, I think that's similar for me. Couldn't say I watched too many of his videos, but I watched enough to know about him, you know? Like I knew who he was, and his content would pop up in my feed.
Yeah.
And I always thought he was really smart, and I liked his delivery, and I knew he was conservative. And it sounds like he was a Bitcoiner.
Yeah.
Um, and it hit me, it's hitting me like, we lost one of our own. Like America lost one of its sons. Um, and I would have never thought I would feel this way, but I'm like you, oscillating between anger, frustration, trying to deal with, how I feel knowing that he's left a family behind, knowing that he was murdered in cold blood in public in a humiliating way. Um, I Nobody should have to live the way he did, to die the way he did. It's completely horrific, you know.
And
So it's tough. It's tough to wrestle with this because you want to make sense of a situation that is totally insane. And the left is always talking about gun violence, and they're talking about dialogue, and you know, um, just go back through history. They don't want to talk to anybody. They want to shut you down. This is what they want for everyone who disagrees with them. They want to see you gone. And I don't think that the other side of the aisle thinks that way. Even, yeah. So it's like, how do you wrestle with a world that's just so far gone? How do you call these people your neighbors? Forget about, I mean, I can't even imagine the people who are cheering this on. It's truly disgusting. And this shouldn't happen to even your worst enemy, not to mention a good man and a father and somebody who loved his country. What happened was uh, a complete violation, and
and
it's a turning point. I mean, not to borrow the name of his company, but it truly is. It is. There was September 9th, and now there's everything after September 10th.
yeah, it's I have a few thoughts. I mean, the first thing is, I mean, I spent a little bit of time. I've had like three calls before this one, so I haven't had the opportunity of spending all this pleasant time on Twitter today, which is actually a blessing, you know.
That's a good thing, man.
It's a really good thing. But the quick time that I have spent, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, uh, I said multiple people I've seen that are accepting God into their lives, and they're talking about taking that step to go to church and to, get baptized and to accept Jesus into their lives. And wow, I mean, what a blessing that is. Like that this would be used in the way that Charlie Kirk could only, that he could only pray for to evangelize people and to get them to come to God. And, it's something that I do believe that, and he said that he was willing to die for, and that's how he wanted to be remembered. So just to see that movement, to see these actually people coming to God now that haven't in their lives, like, I think we're going to see a lot of that, I think there's a great movement toward Jesus, and this is the catalyst for that, right? And that's such an amazing thing to see. And no, just would ask God to give his wife and his children all his mercy and protection, and that they're raised with wisdom and compassion and live a life that their father wanted them to live. And Charlie is in heaven. He's
Oh
he
yeah.
he's a soldier of Christ, and we can have solace in that fact. But worldly justice is needed, and the woke culture want to they want to say that they're empathetic. Oh, we just love people. We're empathetic. No, the woke is not empathetic. Woke is about annihilation. Woke wants
Mm,
to annihilate you. They want to annihilate the family structure. They want to annihilate your culture. They want to annihilate your God, and they want to laugh about it, and they're going to celebrate about it. And it's a very
yeah.
insidious sickness. And these people need to be brought to the fullest extent of justice. I spent a little bit of time on Instagram yesterday. I've got limits set up where I don't spend more than 15 minutes. And typically when I go on Instagram, my algorithm at this point is just like Christian thought leaders, which is a nice little hack, you know. I go on,
Sure.
I
Yeah.
look, but I went through the stories, on the top of Instagram, which I don't typically do. And there was multiple people, some who I follow, they follow me. I don't even really know, remember them, but like kind of celebrating that. And I'd go, if I didn't know them, I'd be like, I just unfollow. But there's a couple
Hmm.
of people that I knew that I'd either worked with professionally, or had been friends with in high school or college or in Hawaii somewhere that were celebrating it, right? That were just
Man.
trying to use it to their advantage. And I'm burning my bridges. I'm not going to stay silent. And so anytime I'd see a person like that, I'm reaching out directly and I'm saying, you should be ashamed of yourself. Take a look in the mirror. This man was just assassinated in the worst possible way. And he left a wife and a family and parents and people that loved him. And all he did was engage in the Socratic method. This was the reasonable option. And you people murdered him. The blood is on your hands. You are a deranged individual. And I pray that you find Jesus. He can still save you. Give your life to him, repent. And that's the only way forward. If you don't want to do that, then our relationship's over. And the people that have gotten back to me just call me a MAGA idiot, you know, supporting a dictator. Just the brainwash things. And this person's from Hawaii, the one person that I said that to specifically. And I believe she was at the No Kings protest in
Mm.
Hawaii, which was held on King Kamehameha Day. King Kamehameha Day. King Kamehameha was basically the colonizer. He united the island chains here and brought them into
Mm.
one state, basically, under one ruler, right? A king. He was a king.
Hmm.
He's celebrated every year for unifying the islands. So the fact that these people they go to a No Kings protest on the same day as King Kamehameha Day. And by the way, it's not broken up from the authorities, right? There's no dictator there telling you that you can't fucking protest. It's like you realize that you're dealing with a kind of person that is so out of touch with reality that you wonder how you can even move forward with them. And so my ultimatum is I'm burning bridges unless you're willing to give your life to Christ. And I'm here to always talk about that. But unless you're willing to repent for your sins and for your actions right now, then we're ceasing communication. We're no longer friends. My door is always open whenever you're ready to accept Jesus and talk about that. But
Hmm.
fix your life, get yourself in order.
Yeah, I can
That's
see.
an extreme approach. I really
No,
quite I was
I can see why
radicalized
you do
for
it.
COVID. I'm even more radicalized now. I don't want to spend any time with these people. I want them to know exactly what I'm all about. And if that means that we're not, I don't want to be friends and to get along with someone that has celebrated this. Like that they have no place in my life. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a Christian way to act. I go back and forth on that, but that's what I've done so far. And yeah, yeah,
I think you're drawing a line in the sand. And
yeah,
as you said that, I don't have anybody that I'm friends with since the COVID situation. I've
yeah,
already pruned my network.
yeah.
To me, that was, that was a great example of uh, who's been indoctrinated beyond all hope of being rescued,
That's right.
and who can see through and take a broader view and look at what's really happening. So I don't have that. Maybe it's a problem, maybe it's a luxury. I don't know what it
No,
is,
it's
but
not a
like
problem. That's a feature.
going, yeah, it's a feature going through your friend list and kind of putting the standard out. My echo chamber has been walled off significantly. Like, but I say that somewhat ironically because I'm open-minded. I think I'm willing to give anyone a chance, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I mean, I think that regular, I consider myself just a regular average Joe. Like this is the type of thing that radicalizes people.
Hmm.
This is the kind of thing that you wanted to silence someone. Now you're never going to stop hearing about them.
Hmm.
You
Never.
know, this is never going away. I will. I would not be surprised if we have a national day to celebrate Charlie Kirk's life.
We should.
I've seen the president has already put out a death warrant. Whoever this person is, uh, they're going to be facing capital punishment, and it will not be undone. Like there is no court. Like the executive order apparently went out yesterday, and Trump said this is what it's going to be as soon as we find him.
Should be in public. It should be televised. It should be a public execution. That's biblical.
That would be an eye for an eye. I
Biblical.
saw, unfortunately, man, I saw that video and it was that close-up shot and it will haunt me forever. I wouldn't want anyone in the world to see that. And my teenage son saw it. A friend sent it to him.
Ah, fuck.
He doesn't have access to that kind of stuff on his phone. It's like super basic text, maps, phone. And he's a child, he's a teenager that had to see that horrific evil. And, I know how I feel at my age watching that. I would never imagine that my baby boy would have to see something like that.
Mm.
Of course, he's a teenager, but still, um, I think we have to raise our kids and we have to be the example of not being afraid to say what we need to say. And I think the words that we have are not violent; they are life-giving.
Yeah.
In our show, this little show that a couple people tune into, we talk about something we love, something we care about, something that we hope will benefit other people's lives. We're not out to destroy people. Our message is here's how you can improve your future. And I think just the contrast between the two sides is so stark.
Hmm. Hmm. I tried to prevent my wife from seeing it, and she was at work, and I was just like, "Hey, this happened. Don't watch it." But she saw it, because it's like unavoidable,
It's
really.
unavoidable.
It's unavoidable. I didn't want her. I want her like, she's a big girl. She can, but like, she's such a sensitive person and such a compassionate person, and as much as I can, I want to shelter her from that stuff, because I don't, it's hard. It's hard on a man, you know. And so it takes another toll on a woman. And I just don't want him to see it, but she saw it and she's reeling from it. I mean, the hardest thing for me is my mom. My mom loves Trump. My mom absolutely adores Charlie Kirk, watches his show, watches everything, has been watching him for years, adores him. And I was actually back in Pennsylvania when Trump was shot, and I was with my mom, and I'm really happy that I was with my mom for that because she's not remarried, she's just alone. And
Mhm.
uh, it's isolating for her. And but this when I got off a call and opened up Twitter, and within 30 seconds I saw the video, and then I got a call from my mom, and she was just bawling. And for her, to be 70 years old and to see, one man that she loves, Trump, get shot and almost taken out, and then to see someone else that she loves get shot in the fucking neck and die like that. I just, I hate that. I hate that passionately for her, and I wish she didn't have to see any of that or to live through this, but this is the reality that we're living in. And we got off the phone and I was like punching the ground, elbowing the ground, kneeing the ground, like ravaged, like just this rage came over me. And then I'm looking up at the cross, and then I'm praying and I'm crying and I'm asking for forgiveness and I'm asking for God's mercy and then more rage and then that over and over again. And I think it's going to be like that for a while.
Yeah,
And
it's pretty raw.
a
It's
while.
raw. It's funny, like he, there's so many people who their lives are ended in horrible ways. The Ukrainian woman who was on the train last week or
Yeah.
whatever recently, and her story, it's tough right now. I mean, you're seeing so much be ripped apart around the world, and places that we never even talk about, Nepal uprising against their government and the French protesting their government and the UK getting kind of reaching a boiling point with their immigrant situation and what we have going on here. Like it feels like the world is like ripping apart at the seams in a way that is accelerated.
Hmm.
These are, yeah, we didn't even talk about yesterday. I didn't see hardly anyone talk about Evergreen, Colorado, and we used to live near there. And there's a high school shooting, a couple hours after the incident out in Utah.
I didn't even know that. Really?
Yeah. And police were there within 5 minutes of the 911 call, and I think two were injured. But, there have been 47 school shootings this year. And
All
you
by who?
know,
All by who?
I know, man, it's
And they want to make it out that
pretty
it's the guns. Well, this is proving, okay. So as long as we don't disagree with you, you won't kill us.
right. I mean, that's what it is. That's what it's come to. It's come to, I think that they've been propagandized to the point where they feel justified.
Yep, that's right. The media is
And
responsible, and these Democratic politicians are responsible for sure.
yeah, and somebody with an open debate, you have to silence them. Or
He
someone
was
who isn't.
most moderate. I mean, he was like your
Yeah.
grandfather's conservatism, like
Oh, it was old fashioned, dude. It was like liberty, free markets,
yeah.
like freedom, founders, constitution. Like it was just basic stuff. It
It was not
was
your great grandfather's or your great great grandfather's
no,
conservatism. It was your grandfather's conservatism, and
right.
they killed the moderate option. What are
Yeah.
what are they gonna try and do to the actual right wingers?
I don't know. I mean, man,
That was the
I
last
just wonder
fight.
what this will spiral into. It's
Yeah.
not over. People are still dealing, like you said, people are feeling the raw emotions, and they're still trying to make sense of the situation. The anger is not going to subside anytime soon.
Yeah, brother, I'm concerned about, if you Civil War, if you've ever like studied or read some stuff about civil wars, it's like yesterday is every day, and
Hmm.
it's closer to home, and you maybe don't have electricity. Like that's
Yeah.
not really a direction that we want to take this country, but it feels a bit unavoidable. It feels like that's the direction we're going in unless the Trump administration can come in here and do something drastic enough to appease the people, right?
Yeah. We need justice and we need, goodness, the federal government. I don't, we need to solve these things as people instead of inviting in the referee, the big referee, you know, like regular people need to solve our differences and have conversations. You don't want to bring in the state
They
to this
killed that
stuff.
option. They killed
Yeah,
that
yeah,
option, to be
they
honest.
did,
Yeah.
dude.
They killed that fucking option.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, it's dark, dark stuff, man. It's dark. I don't even want to think about it, where it could go, but it's absolutely a tinderbox.
yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just really at a loss, basically. I don't know. It's
It kind of puts everything into perspective, when something like this happens, like the stuff we normally talk about just doesn't even matter. I probably spent maybe 10 minutes on X today, where typically I'm probably spending a good amount of time talking to friends, talking to different accounts, getting into the Knott's V core debate, trying to help people see, different things about Bitcoin because that's my passion. And this is just like sucked all the oxygen out of everything else. It's like
uh,
I
yeah.
know Charlie's with Christ. I know what I should do as a Christian to to live up, to what I need to live up to. And other than that, that's all there is. I mean, I don't, what else is there? Everything is like been boiled down to like love your family, be a good husband, be a good dad. And yeah, I don't know, man. I guess I'm still sorting through it too, because I don't have a lot of, what I want to avoid is instigating or encouraging violence. I don't want to do that. As much as it's justified, let's let the authorities handle it.
That's what we
But
pay our taxes for, you know.
yeah, I
They've
mean,
got
it's not
they've
like I
got
want
one
to cheer that
shot.
on either, though. But that's what has to happen.
They've got one shot at this, you know, to be
Yeah.
honest.
What do you think? What do you think? Do you think they're gonna? So, I mean, there's so much out there, conspiracy wise.
Yeah.
They say they have some pictures of someone they're interested in.
I can't believe they don't
I
have the
just,
fucking guy. How do you not have the guy? You like
I mean, I feel like every student should have been interviewed already. If this guy's a
so
college student, you've got every student
yeah.
with an agent writing a report.
It's
This is someone's roommate, right?
yeah. It's not that the shot was necessarily a professional shot, but maybe under those circumstances, right? Gotta have a really, you know, you have to keep really calm, right? And but the thing is like that is getting me is the invasion of it. Like how did this person evade security cameras, evade the attention of anyone else in the surrounding area? Why were there, I'm not sure about the full context of this, but why were there sort of patsies in the crowd? Maybe not
Right.
patsies is not the right word, but you
Well,
know,
people cheering it on. There was guys
diversion,
celebrating.
distractions and stuff. And I don't know if that's organic or if that's they planted people there to distract from the person getting away. That's pretty professional. And I know there's some talk about a plane going in and out, and I don't know. I mean, I'll leave it to other people to piece these things together. Do I think it was Israel? No. I mean, I maybe, but that's not where my first thought goes. There's some weird coincidences about it being a day before 9/11, and I guess Charlie was speaking out about some Israel stuff, in the days leading up, and I guess he had expressed to someone that he was afraid if he turned the corner on Israel that he'd be assassinated. I don't know how legitimate that stuff is. There's a lot of Israel criticism, and I'm one of those people. I think what they're doing is a genocide, and I don't agree with virtually anything, but I'm not sure that this can be pinned on that. I'm leaving it open, but I think it was a deranged leftist. I think it was someone that had trained for this, and trannies can train too. Yeah, trannies can. There's no shortage of information out there, and anyone that has a deranged enough and committed enough sensibility will spend time figuring out all those ins and outs. So I wouldn't put it past a really well-trained tranny.
Yeah. I hesitate to get caught up in all this conspiracies because,
Yeah.
man, I've been down so many rabbit holes. Some of them were real, some of
I don't
them
have the
weren't.
energy right now for it, brother. Let me tell
Yeah, and
you.
that's true. Like I could jump on all of those and yeah, either argue one way or the other about those.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I'll
I
listen to
hope the
anything.
guys
I'll listen
I
to
hope
it.
the guys
Yeah.
yeah, I hope they find him. Find the guy. Find the guy. That's what they need to do. And then we can take it from there. But
Well, you've got to hang them. You have to, I don't know if we can say that on YouTube, but can we do hanging? Can we do a firing squad?
I
Um,
don't know, dude.
because it needs to be it needs to be seen. It needs to be. Can't just be one of these things that happens behind closed doors. It's got to be seen. This is what you get. Sorry. Sorry, but this is what you get. You did an eye for an eye. You did a really horrible thing, and you deserve that, right? That would be justice. So um, that's my thought. I think actually that's probably the moderate position right now versus some other stuff that I've seen online about taking retribution into your own hands.
Yeah, that's bad. Can't
But
endorse that.
I can't endorse that. I think this. What's scary is that the moderate position I think is a public execution.
It, well, I mean, that's been done before, you
Yeah.
know.
It would just be a return to the way that we used to do things.
Yeah, does feel uncivilized. But, civilization is gone anyway. So maybe that ship has sailed, man.
I don't
I don't
know.
know. I'm still wrestling with all of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm concerned what happens in the coming days. I don't think they're over. I think they're going to keep trying to target Nick Fuentes, Shapiro. There are so many people further to the right than Charlie Kirk, all the guys that are affiliated with Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec, the Trumps, Barron, Eric, the whole
don't give them a list, man. You're giving them the
no,
list.
no, dude, that's not my intention. I mean, but like, yeah, like they're thinking about their own security, and they should be, and that's what they want. This is terrorism. This is what they do.
Yeah,
They want
it's
people to be
absolutely.
canceling these events. They
Mhm.
want people to be in fear. They want people to go reclusive, and to stay out of the spotlight. That's the intended effect. And but
Yeah, and they,
they have every right
yeah.
to protect themselves. I would be very cautious if I were them too, because these people are desperate. They're willing to do anything.
Yeah, man. It is tough. How do we transition this into some kind of Bitcoin topic?
I
Maybe
don't
we
think we
don't.
do. I don't think we do today.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I mean, it's a Bitcoin podcast, but it just feels wrong, when something like this happens to talk about Bitcoin, bring it back to Bitcoin. So I think that maybe we buy a little Bitcoin in Charlie's honor, and then we wrap it up.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm gonna do my usual 21 stack for
Yeah,
Charlie.
21 for Charlie.
All right. There it
Well,
goes.
there you go for Charlie. Well, let's leave it there. Uh, just a tough day. It's gonna be tough for a little while, but I think it's just appropriate to keep this day talking about what we just talked about. And yeah, man, everyone stay safe out there, stay frosty, watch your six, protect your family, hug your loved ones. If you haven't, accept Jesus into your life and pray. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, well said.
All right, brother. We'll see you.